Welcome to Live on Purpose Radio with Dr. Paul Jenkins, where you will hear inspiring stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Feed your mind with a regular dose of positive energy and show up for your life every day on purpose. Living on purpose means that you have a purpose and you do it intentionally. And now, here's your host, Dr. Paul. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Live on Purpose Radio. Thrilled to have in my presence today one of my heroes, Brad Barton.
Hey, Paul.
Welcome back.
Good to be back.
So you're a returning guest to the show.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years.
More than that.
Maybe more than a couple.
As I recall, our sons were juniors in high school together last time I did this.
Last time we did it. And now they're adults off doing their thing.
Yeah, and Jacob's a junior in college now. So
is that amazing? And Adam's right there too.
Yeah.
When we talked before, I believe the topic was Beyond Illusions. You wrote a book by that title.
I did.
And that book has made a profound difference in my life.
Thank you.
It's spot on, Brad. I use that constantly with my clients. I recommend it. And folks, if you haven't read Beyond Illusions by Brad Barton, you need to get that on your reading list. You can pick
www.morebetterbooks.
Morebetterbooks.com. And everyone who listens to Live on Purpose Radio knows about morebetterbooks.com because at halftime, Kirk Weasler comes on and pitches it.
Woohoo!
Every single time.
All right.
I love morebetterbooks.com. I think there's another book going to show up there pretty soon.
Yes, there is.
One by Dr. Paul Jenkins. Anyway, that's coming later.
That's exciting.
So, Brad, you've inspired me again. You just keep doing this. You didn't even do it on purpose, huh?
No, I was on purpose about this one.
You were on purpose about this one, and you have a story to share, and one of the places you're going to share that is on my show today, because this is something that I think will assist people to do what we're all about here, and that's to live on purpose.
And your listeners are hearing it raw because as a professional speaker, we tell stories.
Right.
And, we try and craft these stories so that everything is well placed. And so you tell them again and again and get really good at telling this. Well, I've used this story twice so far in my speaking profession.
Okay.
So this is number 3.
So this is part of the refining process for the story. We get it raw.
Strap your seatbelts on. Let's go have some fun.
Buckle up, folks. Here it comes. And this has to do with a world record.
Yeah, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
I better let you start the story then.
So
go ahead. Where does this start?
It starts back in high school, actually. I was a runner. Grew up on a cattle ranch in Salmon, Idaho, and just did not like the ranch life. And Dad told me if I didn't go to college that I would, have to do this.
Inherit the ranch.
Yeah, exactly. So,
you know what? I moved enough sprinkler in high school to know that I wanted to be a shrink.
Same kind of a situation. Yeah. So I ran really hard and earned a scholarship to Weber State University down in Ogden, Utah.
Ah, Weber, huh?
Yeah, Weber. That's right. That's what out-of-staters call it anyway.
Right.
So I'm at Weber, and my coach, Chick Hislop, not an ordinary man. This guy, if you're a track and field connoisseur, if you know track and field, that you would probably recognize the name because he is, in fact, we're getting again ahead of ourselves, but at a track meet, I've got athletes coming up to me when they realize who's with me and saying, "Do you think your coach would let me ask for his autograph?"
Oh, wow.
He was the head Olympic distance coach for the Atlanta Games in 1996, and also a USA Track and Field Hall of Famer. This guy has changed the sport of track and field. Well, I didn't know that then. He was just my coach, my college coach. Well,
yeah. I
had some great experience in college, and it was All-American, and really had some neat experience. I had a chance to make the Olympic team and didn't do it, but got a chance to see other parts of the world, and it was really a neat experience. Well,
very cool.
I married a teammate. She was a 10,000 meter runner, Olympic trials qualifier in the marathon. We figured we'd get together, me, a miler, and a steeplechaser, 3,000 meter steeplechaser, and her a 10,000 meter runner and a marathoner.
You can raise some fast kids.
We could have some hybrids.
And you did.
And we did. That's right. And so that's what I did for the next 20 years is just raising a family and building a speaking career. Mm-hmm. Well, my son, Jacob, called me an old man one time.
Ooh.
I didn't like the sound of that. And I looked at him just off the cuff and I says, you beat me straight up in a mile run and you can call me an old man. And he just turned in disgust and said, shoot, and walked away. Well, he was a sophomore in high school. He got faster and faster and faster. When he was a senior,
I seem to remember him at the top of the podium.
Yeah, he's
that senior year.
So good. He finally turned to me and said, Dad, put up or shut up, right?
Right.
Because I had to be legit, me fit. So anyway, I decided I was going to run the coach's mile at the Simplot Games in Pocatello. Oh, okay. So there's large track meet, and they have a coach's mile. Well, I got myself fit for about 4 weeks, and just before I stepped on the line, I ripped my quad.
Oh.
So that was that. Well, mid-December, late December, the following year, I remembered February, there's coach's mile. So I got fit, ended up getting on the starting line. I wondered if I could break 5 minutes in a mile. For your listeners that don't know about track and field, most high school kids don't run 5 minutes in a mile. Okay, the good ones do. But to break 5 minutes as a 44-year-old, that would be an accomplishment.
Yeah.
I ran 4:32 in the mile.
Wow.
And I thought that was kind of cool. And then I ripped my quad about a week and a half later. Well, the next December, I started training again. I'm going to see if I can break that. And I went and trained a little longer and ran 4:31. And I was really excited. I called my coach, my old retired coach, and I said, Coach, I ran 4:31. He said, what's the world record in your age group? And the world record is 4:20.19. Okay, no one on the planet's ever run indoors faster than 4 minutes, 20 seconds.
As an old man.
From the 45 to 49-year-old, old guys, right?
I'm with you, Brad. I'm right there in the same category.
Exactly. Well, I told him, I says, it's 4:20, Coach, and he's a long pause. He says, I think we both ought to come out of retirement. So the mission, the vision was set. Okay, we're going to go do something impossible. And I think that's an important thing. That's kind of what this is all about is what if you woke up in the morning and you were anxiously engaged in something that was impossible to do?
Right.
What kind of energy would that bring to your life if you had some aspect of your life you were trying to do something impossible? Well, that really captured my imagination. When he said that, I thought, this could really be something that could be a driving force for me. And I look back on my college days, and I'm thinking, when I was running well, everything else was firing on all cylinders as well. When I was running well, I was a good student. I was spiritually on the grow.
Relationships.
I was just. It created a slipstream in my life because I was pursuing excellence in some avenue. Yeah. It created a slipstream in my life that drew everything along with it, and I actually I missed it. I really missed that. So when I was running competitively again, it felt like I was finally growing again. Right. And the title of the book we're working on is called "Getting Back to Getting Better," or "Getting Better at Getting Better." And I've grown in some areas of my life, but never for years had I tried something truly impossible. And it really captured my imagination. So that was the vision. Do something impossible. The mission then becomes break a world record. Do something that's never been done before. That'd be impossible, right? By very definition. The strategy for the mission is train like a high school kid, like most high school kids do. Very little base because my knees can't handle it. I have a meniscus in my left knee. Low mileage, really intense intervals. Try and get the biggest bang for our buck. And then the tactics are fleeting. That's something that we per race or per workout. So we have those 4 elements where we've got a clear vision, we've got a clear mission, we've got a winning strategy, and also tactics that we're going to develop along the way. Very specific details. And so he and I started working together again. And long story short, I ran 4:26, and then I ran 4:23. Which is the fastest 1,500, the fastest mile run in the world last year in my age group. And then I ran the fastest 3,000 meters that's been run by an American in the last almost 20 years. And then I broke my foot. Broke my foot.
Just as you were getting a glimpse of this thing.
I was getting so
You can
excited.
see it out there. Impossible just means it's a little farther.
Right. So it was very discouraging, but the vision was clear and the mission was set. Well, it took a lot longer to heal than the 3 to 4 weeks that the doctor had promised me. It was almost 3 months to get my foot clear so I could run again.
Wow.
But I started to run with a vengeance and with clear focus, and we had done some pretty horrendous things, and the training is just hellacious for a 46-year-old at that point. I was 46, and trying to do some things that, 46-year-olds just aren't supposed to do. 46-year-olds try things like that we were trying, and stuff starts falling off.
Yeah.
Like the other years, right? Broken this and pulled
back
that.
on.
And so we started in January at a collegiate race. We ran 4:26, and I say we because Coach Hislop and I are the team.
Right.
A week later, we went to Boise and ran 4:21.59. So I was exactly 1.5 seconds short of the world record.
Wow.
And I was so excited. I called Coach afterwards, and there was a point in the race with 600 meters to go. I thought I can do it today. We weren't going to Boise to break the world record. We were going as a step.
Yeah.
To do
it's
this.
part of your training.
But with 600 meters to go, I thought I could do it today. But I didn't have the confidence because I wasn't sure if I could make it to the finish line at that pace. So I ran a little more conservative, and afterwards I was devastated because I thought I'd broken my foot again.
Oh wow!
And all the way home, I kept thinking, why did I not try for this? This is it.
This was my chance.
This was my chance. How did I know I was going to break my foot in the race? And MRI came back clear. I was so excited. We got in the pool and worked really hard in the pool. Tactically made an error. Actually ran too hard. And maybe there's a metaphor there. We're running faster than you have strength, and just doing too much. We were doing 2 hard workouts a week, and I convinced Coach I can handle 3. We're not doing the pounding. I'll do 3 in the pool, be fine. And it was an error. Coach let me talk him into something I wasn't ready for. And I came out of the pool completely flat. I went to Cornell, Ithaca, New York, to make my first attempt at the world record, and I fell. At the end of the
you physically, literally fell.
So there's 18 guys in this race, and I'm beating these college kids, right? I spent the first lap in lane 3. You can't break a world record in lane 3. And so at the end of the first lap, I looked to my left inside, and I saw a gap. And instead of looking all the way around and seeing how big the gap was, I just dove for the gap. And it was my fault. I clipped the runner behind me, and he clipped my feet, and I went boom really hard,
right down
on my shoulder on the inside rail. And I wore the marks of that rail on my shoulder for over a month. Jumped back up and tried finish the race, but was way short of my goal. And was very discouraged. There was a important indoor race, the most important indoor race in the world, in Boston a couple of weeks later. It was the New Balance indoor Grand Prix. A lot of Olympians, over a dozen Olympians Olympic medalists actually in this race, in this meet. They open it with the Masters Mile. So the fastest over 40-year-olders in the country are invited to run in this thing. I'm in the next age group up. I shouldn't be running with the younger guys. And I was sick and discouraged. My legs were flat, and I went out, and they let me lead it from the gun to the finish. So really tough. But I didn't break the world record, but at least I'm starting to feel a little more excited.
You're going to finish this for us in just a few minutes.
Live in a nice big house with sunny with a pool, and I'll be cool. I'll always have a gig, cause I'll be big. I'll have parties with friends, places to go. The only problem.
This is Kirk Weasler to tell you about morebetterbooks.com. Morebetterbooks.com is where you can find more better books for a more better life. Not only that, let me tell you about some of the very fun and cool select titles on morebetterbooks.com. You'll want to get a copy of The Dog Poop Initiative. This best-smelling book could change your life forever. It's certainly changed the lives of thousands of Boeing employees, as well as school teachers, parents, leaders across the United States and in Israel and in Germany. And you can get your own copy at morebetterbooks.com. Whoa, that's not all. What about The Cookie Thief? This classic tale told in a rhyming format, fully illustrated with very fun hidden messages. Pick up a copy now today on morebetterbooks.com. Other great titles there: Finding Your Pathway to Mastery, Beyond Illusions, Make It Great. These titles are only available on morebetterbooks.com. Go to morebetterbooks.com today and begin to have a more better life and live that life on purpose.
Thank you for listening to Live on Purpose Radio. We're so glad to have you here. Please come by the website, drpauljenkins.com, spelled with a D-R, drpauljenkins.com. On the website, you'll have an opportunity to receive a free download. And while you're there, make sure you click on the social media icons. Come over to Facebook, where we will be posting these episodes as well as our YouTube videos and other content and announcements for you to share. Please like us, comment, subscribe, join the conversation. We're happy to have you with us here at Live on Purpose Radio. Let's all support each other to live on purpose. drpauljenkins.com.
Success in any endeavor does not happen by accident. Rather, it's the result of deliberate decisions, conscious effort, and immense persistence, all directed at specific goals. Gary Ryan Blair.
Okay, Brad, I almost skipped the whole commercial thing because you've brought us right to the climax of this story. At least I feel like something else has got to happen because you don't get that close without something amazing starting to happen. What happened?
Let's remember what I've done here.
Yeah.
I'm working inside of my of what I'm good at. I have some aptitude for running, for distance running, for miling, and it's been 20 years, but I've reignited this.
But you've been involved in other ways. You coaching the boys at the high school, for example, and I see you at track meets, and this is one of the ways that we got associated at first.
Yeah, that's
through our boys
probably
running.
we met the first. Our boys were friends and nemesis, but the fact that trying anything impossible, probably not, because you got to have some aptitude for it as well.
Well, let's take this word impossible for just a minute too, because it's such a misunderstood word, and we call things impossible that are hard. Or that are a challenge, or that stretch us, or that haven't been done before. And so it's a bit of a misnomer. Impossible, really? You don't set an impossible goal and just go after it. You've got to believe at some level, no, this one is possible. And the reason you had that belief is because of your aptitude, your skill, your experience. And you looked at this goal, and it wasn't impossible in the traditional sense of the word. It was impossible in the sense of a courageous truth. Something that is accessible to you because of your unique skills and abilities.
There is a movie, and I've never even seen the movie, but I love the line from this movie. I think it's called We Bought a Zoo.
We Bought a Zoo. I just watched it 2 nights ago.
Okay. All right. You have to let me know if it's worth seeing. But there's a line in the movie that I'm aware of where one of the main characters says, 20 seconds of insane courage will change your life, or could change your life.
Yeah.
And the first time after I ran 431 that day, I went home and I Googled it. I said, well, I wonder how fast someone my age has ever run this thing. And I saw the 420.19, and I had 20 seconds of, I could do that. I could do that. It was insane.
That's
courage,
less than
right?
20 seconds.
Why not? Exactly. Why not? Why not try something that's never been done before? But understand what happened, though. I tried and I failed. I tried again the next year and I failed. I tried again the next year and I failed.
Now, by failed, you mean
Ripped my major muscle in my leg.
you injured, did not accomplish the stated objective. That's what you mean.
Seems like all that hard work was for naught.
Because that word failed is a tricky one too, isn't it?
It is. And I'm using it on
Okay.
purpose.
Yes, you are.
Doc, because that's the way that it is easy to go to. When I ripped my
Right.
quad, I remember thinking, I failed, right? The next year, I failed. I broke my foot. I failed, right?
Right.
Or really, were these just stepping stones along the way?
Interesting.
I got sick. And then I fell on the rail and hurt myself really badly. I went back home and I was so discouraged. My legs were empty. I did a really hard workout and I just wasn't there. We had to quit the workout halfway through. Coach just says, "You're done." And I walk away, with the head held low. Then 3 days later, we came back and tried another hard workout, and there was nothing there. And the legs were empty. The next week, I came in. My legs were empty again. I got one last workout before I'm going to go to New York for the final attempt at the world record. This is probably the last time in my life I'll ever have a chance to do this. And that workout wasn't so bad. I remember thinking, "Dang, I was 8 400-meter repeats." At 64-second pace with 90 seconds rest, right?
Wow.
Very specific. And I was able to do it. It didn't feel great, not like it was early in the season. But I remember walking away from that thinking, I wish it was one way or the other. It was a great workout. I'm there. It was a terrible workout. Then I'm done. I'm not going to try. But it was just so. It was my wife and my coach that says, "You ought to go. You ought to go try this." So I got on the plane and I flew to New York. A place called the Armory. It's the most famous indoor track in the world. And I stepped on a starting line with a bunch of college kids, and I dared to do something great.
Yeah.
So what basically, the short version of the story, I was running 65-second quarters. I came through the half-mile mark, and I was a good 20 meters behind in last place.
I've seen the video.
The guys were way out on me. Well, what had happened, I wasn't behind. They were just too far ahead. There's several people, young college kids in this race. I was right where Coach and I had placed me. I was supposed to go a negative split the race. In other words, run the first half of the race at 2:10, and then the second half mile in 2:08. Right? So I'm negative splitting this thing. I came through exactly at 2:10. And I remember just smiling in my mind, thinking I'm right where I wanted to be.
You're right on pace.
And then I started catching these guys. Within a lap, I had caught up with the group. Within another lap, with 400 meters to go, I had pulled into third place. And this is on Flow Track. There's the folks up in the booth. This is a very important race. People are like, "Look at Barton, the Masters guys. He's looking good."
Yeah.
And they're getting excited. The announcer is getting the crowd into this.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I came through with 200 meters to go, and I knew that I had this record just because I knew where my splits were.
Right.
And then I got excited, and came across the finish line with, and I knew I'd done it, but I wasn't sure. And I'm standing there looking, hands on knees, death grip. I ended up running 4:16.83. And
4:16.
So
You demolished it.
I demolished this record.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my coach afterwards. Now, understand, vision clear, mission set, strategy, good strategy, and then tactics that day were perfect. And I said, "But Coach, we haven't trained at anything faster than a 64-second quarter. I finished my last quarter and ran 62. It's the first time in 20 years I'd ever run that fast. In the last quarter of a race, Paul, think of this."
That's pretty good for a 400.
Exactly. And I said, "Coach," I turned to my coach, we were watching it. I says, "How did I do that?" And he looks at me and he says, "Well, you got excited."
Yeah.
And so I think that's maybe a principle of success as well.
It's all about psychology.
You do the right kinds of things, and then the last element is get excited.
Get a fire in your belly. Yeah. And the impossible.
We did it.
Yeah.
We did it. And it wasn't about what I had done. People say, "You broke the world." No, I didn't. Coach Hislop Coach Chick Hislop and I broke this world record with a lot of help from Get Air Sports, my corporate sponsor, a lot of huge assistance from my family, and they were sacrificed my kids a lot of time away from dad to train for this.
Right. And every time I hear you talk about it, you use the word we, which I think is a powerful lesson as well. So these impossible goals, these impossible dreams that you have, if you're listening to this show, what are yours? And who's your team? Who are your coaches?
What is your equivalent of pulling your quad muscle? What is your equivalent of breaking your foot?
Breaking your foot.
What about a tactical error in your business? Maybe just some poorly considered move to the inside lane that puts your shoulder on the rail running at a 420-mile pace, and you end up jumping up bruised, and you wake up the next morning. Listeners, have you ever felt like you were hit spiritually by a Mack truck?
Oh, yeah.
and so what did it take to get back up and finish that race at Cornell? That's a question that I've asked myself a lot. I had I believe it was the Brown coach, Brown University coach, came up with tears after that race, and he said, "I wish all of my track athletes had seen you finish that race." And I don't know what, I didn't think about it. I was there to win a race, set a world record.
You're doing your thing.
And I was horribly slower than that. I ran 4:28 that day. Still beat most of the college kids,
horribly
by the way.
Slower, yeah.
But I got up and I finished the race. So what is your equivalent, and what you really need to figure out what your vision is in your life, and the supporting the mission, and those are the things that get you on the plane to go when everything is telling you can't do it.
In the last how many years have I failed?
Yeah, that's right.
And that just becomes part of your story.
And then another aspect of this, another wrinkle would be you gotta, when you have some lofty goal, and I'm encouraging your listeners, go set your goals higher. Go try something really hard. There's life in that. There is life in that. So when you do that, you got to have a next goal in front of you. So when I got back from New York, it was exciting, but we didn't let ourselves sit down and rest on the laurels. We decided we're going to go win 2 indoor championships, and we did. The next goal was to set our sights on the steeplechase and break an American record, which we did. The next goal was to set the world record, which we didn't. I missed by 1.5 seconds in Seattle.
Man, you failed.
Broke my own American record and the fastest steeplechase run by an American over 40 in history.
Yeah.
Right? But I failed to get the job, the big job, and that world record is still not mine in the steeplechase. So the next goal was to go to Europe and go win a couple of world championships, which I did in the steeple and in the 1,500 meters. Yeah. So anyway, keep your goals in front of you. I wanted to give you a bit from I saw it this morning on National Public Radio, and this is just gold. I was listening to this interview. They were interviewing Stephen King this morning.
Okay.
And you got it.
If he sounds choppy, folks, it's because he's thumbing through his iPhone.
Oh, sorry. Here we go.
Trying to multitask, and he's male.
Listen to this, guys, and it perfectly illustrates what we're talking about. On his prolific writing and production in writing, Stephen King says, "There are plenty of people who have got lots of talent. This world is lousy with talent. The idea is to work with that talent and try to get to be the best person that you can, given the limits of talent that God gave you, or fate, or genetics, or whatever name you want to put on it," he says. And then the gem. He says, "A lot of people have suggested that the stuff I do may be second class because there's so much of it. My response is this: I'm going to quit and be dead for a long time. This is the time I've got, and I want to use it to the max. I really want to try and mine everything that I've got."
Wow.
Stephen King. On passion.
Yeah. I'm going to quit and be dead for a long time. This is the time.
Yeah.
This is it right here. What are we going to do with it?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Let's go live on purpose and do something that is not only hard but bordering on insane. Because that's what's going to keep us awake at night and excited to get up in the morning.
And if it sounds or looks impossible,
you might be on the right track.
We might be on the right track. Thank you for having the courage to do the impossible, Brad. That makes a difference. So, you want to find this man? BradBartonSpeaks.com. Or just call me. I've got his cell phone number. I'm glad you're in my human treasury, Brad.
I love that term. Thank you so much for letting me be there.
Hey, we have a lot of fun living on purpose, don't we?
That's right.
Everybody go out there and do the same. Take this information and live on purpose.